Barack Obama left the White House in 2017. His salary as president, $400,000 a year. A good amount, sure, but nothing compared to the world he lives in now. Today, just a few years later, Obama's net worth is estimated between $70 million and $135 million. And that's not just a lucky guess. That's the number top finance sites, authors, and researchers agree on. So here's the big question. How did that happen? Because this isn't the story of a lottery win or a one-time jackpot. It's something bigger, smarter, slower, the kind of story most people never hear. In 2017, Barack and Michelle Obama signed book and media deals worth over $65 million. Yes, that's just the beginning. We're talking Netflix, best-selling books, worldwide speaking tours, deals so big, they reshape what retirement even means. But hold on, that's not the whole picture. Behind all those contracts and headlines is something far more powerful than money. Something that very few people ever talk about when they discuss success. It's not just what Obama did after leaving office, it's how he set it up years in advance. Now picture this. Private beachfront mansions, Secret Service SUVs rolling through small-town streets, vacations in places once reserved for kings and queens. That's the kind of life Obama leads today. But here's what makes it truly fascinating. This is the same man who, not too long ago, was paying off student loans while serving in the U.S. Senate. This isn't just a glow-up, it's a total transformation. And the tools he used? They're not locked behind closed doors. They're visible to anyone paying close attention. So the real question is, what did Obama really do differently? And how can someone go from civil servant to global icon without building a single tech company, without launching a product, and without inheriting millions? Because what we're about to explore isn't just a timeline of wealth. It's a blueprint, a lesson, a hidden pattern. This is the real story of connections, timing, patience, and a secret that's not about money, but about influence. And if you stick around until the end, we'll show you exactly what that secret is, and how it quietly shaped not just Obama's life, but the lives of presidents, leaders, and legacy builders for decades. So if you've ever wondered how power really works, you're about to find out. Barack Obama was born in 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii. His childhood was far from ordinary. He spent his early years moving between two very different places, Hawaii and Indonesia. His mother, Ann Dunham, worked for international aid programs, often helping poor communities. His stepfather had a job in Indonesia's oil industry, which meant young Barack saw life from two sides, one of hope and struggle, the other of business and structure. But even with this global background, Barack often felt like he didn't fit in. He was biracial, living in a time and place where that confused people. At school, he was one of the few kids with brown skin. At home, he didn't always see others who looked like him. This led to deep feelings of confusion, isolation, and identity struggles. Who was he? Where did he belong? Still, he was smart, very smart. He earned a scholarship to Punahou School, one of the most elite schools in Hawaii. Later, he studied political science at Columbia University, but it was at Harvard Law School where things really began to change. At Harvard, he made history. He became the first black editor of the Harvard Law Review. That role usually goes to students who later become powerful judges or Supreme Court clerks. Professors called him one of the brightest minds they'd seen. He could have done anything, they later said. Big law firms offered him huge paychecks. A fast-track life of wealth and prestige was right there for the taking. But Obama chose something different. Instead of heading to Wall Street, he went back to the south side of Chicago. He worked as a community organizer, helping neighborhoods struggling with poverty, crime, and broken systems. He rented modest apartments, drove used cars, took part-time jobs. He lived simply, even as his degrees opened big doors. Why? Because he believed in something bigger, change from the ground up. But that didn't mean his path was easy. As a rising black intellectual in mostly white Ivy League spaces, he often had to balance two worlds. He had to be black enough for one crowd and safe enough for another. It was a tension he'd walk for years. Even as a student, he wasn't afraid to speak out. While at Occidental College, he gave his first political speech, standing against apartheid in South Africa. A powerful stand for justice even back then. By the time he finished Harvard, people were already saying, "Watch this guy, he's going places." But that brings us to a bigger question. How did this quiet, thoughtful student become one of the fastest rising stars in American politics? The answer lies in what came next. In 1989, Barack Obama took a job at a top law firm in Chicago. That's where he met Michelle Robinson, a brilliant young lawyer who would later become his wife and closest partner. Around this time, Barack began thinking seriously about public service. He'd spent years organizing in poor neighborhoods. Now, he wanted to make change from the inside. By 1996, he won a seat in the Illinois State Senate. It was a big step, but the road wasn't easy. In 2000, he ran for Congress and lost badly. He was beaten by 30 points. It was painful. People told him he had gone too far, too fast. He questioned everything, but he didn't quit. Even during hard times, Obama stayed grounded. He flew coach, carried his own bags, and sometimes had to borrow money just to keep the campaign going. There was no VIP treatment, no safety net, just belief, strategy, and hard work. Then came 2004. That year, Obama gave the keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention. It was powerful, moving, and full of hope. Almost overnight, the media, donors, and party leaders saw him differently. The spotlight found him and never let go. Soon after, he ran for the U.S. Senate. But here's the twist. His main opponent, Jack Ryan, dropped out because of a scandal. Obama's team moved fast. They used the opening to build support and win big. It wasn't luck. It was timing, skill, and readiness. By 2007, Obama did something bold. He ran for president. Many thought it was too early. His main opponent, Hillary Clinton, backed by the most powerful names in politics. People doubted him. They said he didn't have the experience, or the connections, or the right timing. And quietly, many questioned if America was ready for a black president. But Obama's team had something new: technology. They built tools to track voter signups and canvassing in real time. Their ground game became legendary. By 2008, history was made. Barack Obama went from a local organizer to the world stage in just a few years. But that leads to another mystery. What did Obama do after leaving office? When the cameras turned off and the real money started flowing in? When Barack Obama left office in 2017, he didn't just walk away from the White House. He stepped into a world of opportunity that few presidents before him ever had. People wondered what he would do next. Would he go quiet? Would he start a foundation? But what came next surprised many, especially those who remembered how he once refused big money from Wall Street and powerful donors during his early years. Soon after leaving office, Barack and Michelle Obama signed a joint book deal reported to be worth $65 million, one of the biggest in publishing history. The source: Financial Times. That was just the start. In 2018, they partnered with Netflix to create Higher Ground Productions, a media company focused on meaningful stories. The deal amount was kept secret, but insiders say it's worth tens of millions. The Obamas weren't just telling their stories. They were shaping culture. Barack's memoir, A Promised Land, sold over 1.7 million copies in its first week. That's not just a book, it's a movement. But even more, it showed that the Obamas didn't just sell books. They sold narratives that shaped how people saw politics, race, and leadership. But with this success came criticism. As their income grew, some progressives began to question, had the outsider become part of the elite? Could the man who once walked the streets of Chicago now live in multi-million-dollar homes without losing his message? Obama's speaking fees now range between $400,000 and $700,000 per event. That's even more than Bill Clinton used to make. So with all this money pouring in, where is it going? And more importantly, what does Obama's lifestyle today tell us about power in the modern world? Barack Obama once lived in a modest apartment in Chicago. He rented, budgeted carefully, and lived like many working Americans. But today, the Obamas own a real estate portfolio worth over $20 million, a transformation that speaks louder than words. Their most famous home is an $11.75 million mansion on Martha's Vineyard. This stunning property sits on 30 acres, includes a private beach, and boasts 7 bedrooms. It's quiet, remote, and completely secure. A place designed for privacy and peace. Next is their $8.1 million home in Washington, D.C.'s Kalorama neighborhood. This property has 9 bedrooms, advanced security upgrades, and is just minutes away from many global embassies and political leaders. It's more than a house. It's a hub of quiet power. They also still own their original $1.65 million home in Chicago, located in the Hyde Park neighborhood. Built in the Georgian Revival style, this house reminds people where it all started. There's even talk of a Hawaiian estate, possibly worth around $5 million, though this one hasn't been confirmed publicly. Whether rumor or truth, it adds to the legend. This is the same man who once spoke about paying off student loans, fighting for the working class, and struggling with the cost of living. So these homes don't just show success, they raise questions. How did we go from rented apartments to beachfront fortresses? And what does that say to the millions who still struggle today? But there's more to these homes than just comfort. Each one is strategically placed, near media centers, political hubs, or legacy routes. The Obamas didn't just buy luxury, they bought influence. Still, not everyone is impressed. Critics say this lifestyle puts Obama out of touch with the people he once championed. That maybe somewhere along the line, the mission changed. So here's the deeper question. Is this wealth just a natural reward for hard work, or has something been lost? The beast. The famous $1.5 million armored limo Obama used as president. It now sits in the Presidential Vehicle Museum in Michigan, a symbol of the journey from public service to powerful legacy. But if real estate and paid speeches explain part of the money, what explains the quiet, growing influence Obama still holds today? When Barack Obama left the White House in 2017, most people thought his political story was over. No more speeches from the Oval Office. No more global summits. But what many missed was this. Obama's greatest power was never in his title. It was in his influence. While others saw a president step back, insiders saw something bigger. They saw the rise of a private global influencer, someone who didn't need a ballot or a microphone to change the world. Behind the scenes, Obama built deep relationships with Netflix, Spotify, and tech giants across Silicon Valley. His media company, Higher Ground, didn't just make shows. It won an Oscar for American Factory in 2020. That's cultural power at the highest level. He's also a private consultant for political campaigns around the world. Presidents, prime ministers, and rising leaders still seek his advice. Imagine that. No office, no official title, but his voice still shapes what people believe, what they watch, and sometimes how they vote. Obama's inner circle now includes media executives, billionaires, and global academics. It's a group that works across borders, shaping ideas and policies in ways most people never see. But not everyone sees this as harmless. Some call it shadow governance, a kind of leadership that bypasses elections and public debate. Critics ask, is this what democracy is becoming? Or is it the rise of unelected cultural kings? It's a fair question, and here's something even more interesting. Obama has personally met with every U.S. president since leaving office. Trump, Biden, and others. But he's never fully shared what was discussed. That kind of access means one thing. His influence hasn't ended. It's evolved. Now think about it. Barack Obama doesn't need to be in office. He has something more powerful, control of the narrative, access to global leaders, and the ability to shape thought without ever stepping behind a podium. What's the ultimate secret that explains how Barack Obama still holds so much weight, without holding any office at all? Barack Obama didn't just become wealthy, he mastered the art of leverage. Today, his greatest asset isn't his bank account. It's his platform, his network, and the trust he controls across the globe. While tech billionaires build apps and sell data, Obama sells ideology. He shapes minds. He influences conversations in boardrooms, classrooms, and living rooms. His wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in influence per second. This is the twist most people miss. The real game isn't about money. It's about attention, trust, and control of narrative. Obama's story is no longer about a rise from humble beginnings. It's about how legacy, when mixed with smart media, global access, and cultural timing, becomes a new kind of currency, one more powerful than gold. Remember the hook. The private beaches, the luxury homes, the mega deals. That wasn't the real story. The trillionaire life Obama lives isn't built on money. It's built on cultural control. Is this what leadership looks like now? Not presidents or prime ministers, but narrative moguls who guide the world, not with laws, but with stories. Is this the future of power? From the beaches of Hawaii to the halls of Harvard, from local meetings on Chicago's South Side to global boardrooms, Barack Obama has redefined the meaning of life after the presidency. This wasn't just the result of popularity or chance. It was strategy, patience, precision. Every move was a step toward building a platform that outlives titles and terms. He didn't just leave office, he leveled up. And in doing so, he showed us that the real currency today is attention, trust, and story control. If that surprised you or made you look at power a little differently, subscribe for more stories where wealth and influence trade hands silently but powerfully. Now we want to hear from you. Does Obama's current influence impress you or concern you? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about what power really looks like in the modern world.